It's Thursday, which means we're thinking like entrepreneurs, and today I want to talk about one of the biggest reasons businesses fail, and the answer might surprise you. Hey, it's Erin Smith, owner and founder of the Starters Club and the Entrepreneur Summit, and welcome to another episode of Think Like an Entrepreneur Thursday, where we discuss the mindset shift of going from an employee to an entrepreneur. So today's topic, let's talk about failure. So many people, when it comes to a business failing, they think, well, it was a bad business in the first place, or they just ran out of resources, or bad management, whatever. And I'm going to be honest, one of the biggest underlying reasons for a business failing aren't those. It's about wrong expectations. So people want to be the exception to the rule. They hear what it takes to start a business. They hear what it takes to run a business. They hear the general rules of the business, but they think, doesn't apply to me. I'll get it done faster. I'll get it done with less money. I'll get it done with less resources, whatever that is. And so they jump in with the need to have success to be the exception to the rule. And then they quit. They give up, or they have to stop. Because, they quit their job and it had to start getting profitable in 6 weeks. Otherwise, they had to go back to work. And when you're setting yourself up for that, failure is inevitable. And this video came because I was actually just having lunch with a good friend of mine who's very successful entrepreneur, multi-millionaire, has a ton of different businesses that he's successfully built. And we were talking about a person, and he's like, what happened to that particular business? And I was like, well, they just went away. And he's like, so many times I see people, it's not a failure. People just stop. They quit. And they don't stop and quit because they lose their passion or, they run out of money necessarily. A lot of times they have this expectation that they're just going to knock it out of the park right away. And when it doesn't happen, when lightning doesn't strike, they quit. I remember meeting with someone and they were telling me how their client's wife told them, you got 3 months to make this work. And if you can't make it work in 3 months, it's done. Well, what does make it work? If you can't turn a profit in 3 months, you're done. Honestly, exception to the rule. Set up for failure. I remember, and I speak from a very non-judgmental place. I speak from experience because I always want to be the exception to the rule. I've built businesses now so many times that I feel like I can kind of skip past a few parts because, I've got that badge of serial entrepreneur on my coat or whatever. But every time I start from scratch, I start a new business, I have to go back to those rules and remember what this is. I remember launching, the first time I did my online business, I launched my very first product, did things horribly. And I made $6,000. Thought I failed. Wanted to quit. I'm like, all these people are doing out of the gate six-figure launches. And the problem is they're not telling the truth when they tell that. Now, all of a sudden, a lot of those people are coming out and saying, well, my first one, I did a couple hundred, I failed. It took me 2 years to get to that point. But so many times people, they don't want to share that story. They want to share the amazing story. So we're comparing ourselves to that. I thought I failed. I really wanted to quit. First Entrepreneur Summit. I did it in 3 months. I stacked the odds against me, and I still wanted to be the exception to the rule. When it didn't turn out, when I had my expectations set through the roof, and it didn't quite turn out that way, I was so disappointed in myself and wanted to quit until I started talking to people, and they're like, oh my gosh, you did what? You closed how much in sponsorship? You got how many people there? Are you kidding me? In 3 months? And yet, we set ourselves to this standard, or we expect this thing to happen, and you just can't set yourself up for failure right away. So follow the standards, follow the rules. Yes, listen, people get struck by lightning. Absolutely. People win the lottery. Absolutely. But what's the general rule? And so if you look at the general rules and follow that and bet on that, so maybe it means staying at your job for another 6 months. Maybe it means doubling down on marketing because you've got to touch those people. A lot of people are like, well, I've worked with clients. We're like, well, I don't need to spend money on marketing because my product is so amazing that people are just going to love it. I don't have to, I only have to touch them once. They're going to see it and it's going to be amazing. Well, listen, not the general rule. And so look at it and really figure out what do I need to make this to be, to succeed? Where do I need to get to? And plan on that. Actually plan a little bit longer than that. Plan on more money than that. But that's where your success is. Stop setting yourself up to be the exception to the rule. Stop setting yourself up that you're going to just, you know what everybody else does, but you're not everybody else. You're gonna do it bigger and better, and you're just gonna knock it out of the park, but then get disappointed when you don't. So it's not about running out of money. It's not about running out of time. It's simply setting expectations that you only need $1,000 to launch a business and you're done. So I guess it's running out of money, but you set those expectations just way too unachievable. So be careful of doing that. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you love it, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like our Facebook page so you never miss an episode, and get notifications, please. And make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share this with a friend who you know is starting or building their business. And we'll be here, as always, next Thursday, where we're thinking like entrepreneurs.